You know, I've seen a lot of videos online from people posting about going car camping. It's usually the same thing again and again. Someone in a Prius or some other earth-saving vehicle dumps a comforter in the boot and then sleeps on it. Or maybe even someone has a roof tent and sleeps in it without mentioning how cold and miserable it feels sleeping on bare metal. They may even have some clear plastic totes to keep things in. They may even have a camp table to put things on. However, all of these videos really seem to have one thing in common, and that's how dreadful these people make car camping look. Why on earth should car camping look so miserable? So in this video, I'm going to go car camping, only I'm going to do it in comfort. Hey there folks, welcome to my channel. My name's Ian. I started this channel because I got fed up with paying other people to fix my vehicles. The cost just kept piling up and I thought, hey, why not learn to do it myself? Now here's the thing, I know nothing about cars. Yep, you heard that right, I'm a complete newbie. But I'm willing to learn and I want to take you all along for the ride as I figure this out. I want to be upfront, this is not a tutorial channel, it's more like a journey where I share my experiences, my mistakes, and hopefully my successes as I learn how to fix things. So if you're tired of those expensive repair bills and want to learn with me, hit that subscribe button and join the adventure. So let's get our hands dirty and figure out how to keep our vehicles running without breaking the bank. This is DemonView Drives. Okay, and I believe this is the attire that a Pacific Northwester would actually wear when they were going car camping. So let's go through the checklist and see if I have everything that is needed. Itchy woolen impractical hat. Check. Oversized scarf, that is totally impractical as well. Check. Kind of a flannelly shirt that just looks kind of wrinkled and came out of a Goodwill store. Check. Oh, don't forget this scraggly facial hair that kind of makes you look like you're not really a car camper, but a paedophile on the run from the law. Check. So one of the first things I'm going to do is clear out my car and fold down those rear seats because I don't need the rear seat in my car. Never will. Huh. So here's the thing, I never really understood the appeal of car camping because let's face it, you're hopping in a car, going out to the middle of nowhere, so you can poop in a bag. And yeah, that's probably why I've always preferred to stay in a hotel. So what I've done now is I've cleared out the back of my car and I'm almost ready to go car camping. Only I'm not going to do it like people usually do it and have like just basically a comforter in the back and your food in a cooler that's actually getting warm, and then the ice in the cooler melts and then that water has to go somewhere and it's all just a mess because as you're driving, what's to stop that cooler from tipping over? Nah, I reckon if I'm going to go car camping, I'm going to do it like I'm from the 21st century and not a complete homeless hipster from Portland. So let's do this with a bit of panache. So step one was clearing out my vehicle. Now the reason I'm doing this is to make room for my camping setup. Since it's going to be just me, I don't need to use those rear seats, so therefore they're getting folded down. And I reckon if I fold them flat, that's going to give me ample room for my 55-inch 3D plasma television that I'm going to be watching. I mean, after all, if you're camping overnight, you're likely going to want to watch a TV show or something, or a movie, and you don't have to do that on a phone like this size, squinting at a screen. So having a large screen TV in here will just be like being in the cinema, but in your vehicle. Now, one thing about car camping is that it can get bloody cold, especially in the winter time, but even in the summertime at night, it can be cold as well. Now, what I could do is throw 30 or 40 sleeping bags in there, some hand warmers, a stupid woolly hat, but honestly, nobody wants to look like a hippie unless you actually live in Portland, Oregon, in which case then I think it's mandatory. Also then, even if you're warm, the car itself is cold, the air you're breathing in is cold, so you know what? No, thank you. Instead, I'm going to put this fan heater in the car instead. I mean, it'll keep the air warm, it'll keep everything nice and toasty, and I reckon if I plug this in, it's going to keep the whole car perfectly warm. And I know what you're thinking, why not use the car heater in? Well, because then I'd have to leave the engine running, whereas if I use this, no such problem. I can just run it all off the battery. I am good. Temperature control and everything, very fancy. So I'm just going to put this in the back here, near the power socket that I have. And yeah, we got the television, we got our fan heater, let's see what else we can use to kind of bring this into the 21st century. Another thing I hate seeing when people sleep in their car is car condensation. Now, steamy windows, I think you know what all that's about. Yeah, you're boiling a kettle in the back of your car, condensation's going to form on those windows. The worse the condensation, the worse your breath is. And since I can't brush my teeth in the night while I'm sleeping, I'm just going to do the smart thing instead and put this dehumidifier in the car instead. And that will suck all the moisture out of the air and technically leave my breath minty fresh. You see, science. Now, I've covered the basics of the whole condensation thing and what to do if I get too cold by having a heater in the car. So what if it gets too warm during the day and I kind of want to just stay in bed, laze about? I don't want to get too hot and sweaty, but well, that's another issue I've solved. You see, I have this portable AC unit. Now, this is actually rated for a 1200 square foot room, so I reckon it can easily cool down the entire car, and it has a remote control, so I can control it from the back while this sits in the front. And I mean, that's just perfect. I can set the heater in the back to 60 degrees. I can set the AC at the front to 60 degrees, and that should keep everything in a nice balance, I reckon. So I've managed to install that AC unit in my front seat, and I'm just going to put the seat belt on it. It's freed up some room in the back, so let's see what else we can fit in the DemonView mobile. I could be one of those people that carries around a thermos filled with 2-day-old soup and insist this is absolutely wonderful, lukewarm soup. But no, I reckon put an electric kettle in the car. You can boil it, you can have piping hot coffee, piping hot instant soup, and I don't know why people don't do this. I mean, it just makes practical sense. Stop drinking cold, moldy soup out of a, God knows, barely washed thermos can. Instead, make yourself a hot cup of coffee with some fresh water. And there you have it, folks. The car's all packed and ready. I've even managed to find this small orange screwdriver. I'm going to put in my pocket here because that's what every Pacific Northwester from Portland has. At least one tool they're not going to use. Shut up. Now, what is it with people and campfires? I mean, it's like some sort of religious rule. If you go camping, you have to have a campfire and cook on it. So in other words, if it's raining and miserable out like it's going to start doing shortly, in order to cook your food, you have to go find some soaking wet wood, go find some rocks so you can make a safe campfire ring thingy. Then you need 30 minutes to try lighting that wet wood on fire, and then probably another hour to cook your food in wet, miserable, rainy conditions. And what do you end up with? Well, you end up with wet, cold, soggy food, and you stink of smoke. That's what camping's all about, folks. So, no, people, this has got to stop. I'm therefore, after upgrading, as you can see, my car with an electric kettle to make some coffee, but I've also put a toaster oven in there so I can actually cook food indoors, where it's dry. That's what you do in the modern civilized world. Since I'm going to be camping and experiencing nature at some stage, I'm going to have to answer the call of nature. Now, back in the olden days, that basically meant digging a hole and pooping in it. Sorry, let's just be honest here. But if you think that's bad, that's not the worst part. At some stage in the middle of the night, when it's dark out, it's windy out, you're blind, you can't really see because it's so dark and you're trying to squat outdoors, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to end up dropping your pants, squatting, and then pooping in your own pants. It happens, folks, trust me. Or worse still, you're going to be down there crouched after pooping, then you're going to lose your balance standing up, and then you're going to step in your own poop. Yeah, I'm sorry, we have to go down the poop route here, but sorry folks, it's not going to happen, so that's why I've solved this issue. Little privacy. If you're thinking I should do some giveaways on this channel or something to attract more watchers and boost the viewership levels, I could probably start with this scarf. And with that, it was finally time for me to hit the road and go camping. So I did what any independent, manly man of the wilderness would do. I texted my wife and asked permission if I could go camping in the wilderness, to which she replied, absolutely not. You'll get your ass killed, or you're going to get stuck in the middle of nowhere, and I'm not getting up in the middle of the night coming to rescue your ass when you're cold and miserable and stuck in the mud, so you can go camping around the side of our house. So that's where I am. I'm going to set up here tonight. I'm going to go camping in the DemonView luxury camper, and we're going to see how good this stacks up to other people's miserable car camping experiences. And now that it's night time, it's time for me to prepare an evening meal. So I just need to hook up my toaster oven, hook up my heater, my dehumidifier, plug in my TV and settle down to a movie and a meal. And if you're asking how I'm going to do that, well, I've got some extension cables and a 12-volt adapter. So all that's left for me to do is plug it all in.